Hello there. Welcome. I'm Dr. Troy Spurl from Synapse, Center for Health and Healing. I founded Synapse over 22 years ago, and I'm here today to talk to you about our Back to the Basics program. So, this program basically has come out of necessity for the times that we're in. It is currently October 2021, so we are in the midst of a lot of focus on our health and overall well-being. So I'm going to go through some of the program basics here to help bring home a little bit of what you can do to help yourself be healthy and essentially be safe. Stay out of the hospital because you're doing so well with your health. So this again came out of necessity, and I'm going to share a little bit of what we've been doing the last year and a half and what we've been seeing. So the first thing is I just want to talk a little bit about our team here at Synapse. Our programs are set up really as lifestyle programs, and this slide that you're seeing in front of you right here is what we aim to be for you. So we want to stay in integrity. We have core values. One of our core values here is excellence without ego, where the doctors work hard for you. We also ask that anyone who comes and works with us stays within this same slide, if you will. If we ask you to stick to a particular diet, we want you to tell us if you don't. That's the integrity part of it. We are going to fight hard for you and work for you, and we want you to do the same thing. We want you to work as hard for yourself as we do. So if you look at this slide, this is a lot of who we are. It's just our team. The other thing that I'm going to talk about is our health crisis right now. This quote is something that should really surprise and shock a lot of people and wake up a few people as well. Our current healthcare crisis is one of just not working proactively on being healthy. So, this is a quote from Medicare Standard 2251: care that seeks to prevent disease, promote health, and prolong and enhance the quality of life is not considered medically necessary. Therefore, insurance doesn't cover it. That is backwards. That's a broken system. So, one of the scenarios that we like to look at is how to keep you healthy and to be one step ahead, not always managing a disease process. And we'll go through that a little bit later in the talk here. So, one of the things that's come about in the last year and a half, this has really been going on for decades, but who do you trust? Who do you trust with your health? We're getting a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of mixed information, and even a lot of disagreement among very respected healthcare practitioners. Who do you trust? Well, I'm going to go through just a few scenarios here. This slide you can see is actually from the primary literature with the mRNA vaccines. And so I'm just using it as a visual right now. You can go through what it's supposed to look like. But we've seen a lot of um, misinformation out there. I'm going to start with an Israeli study that came out and showed that people who were vaccinated basically had a 13 times more likelihood were less protected than people who had natural immunity. While that was true, and that's what the study found, many people started putting that into one category. What also was found is that the people who had a single dose of the mRNA vaccines also did better with COVID when they got it. So there's been a lot of challenges when it comes to discerning through good information. It seems that regardless of the study, the information is taken and then bits of it are used with whatever the agenda is. So I'm not here to argue one way or the other on that side of it. We have a lot of information, a lot of other podcasts that you'll be seeing and hearing on that for those interested. One thing, though, that you look at is the next bullet point there. 78% of people currently in the hospital, whether vaccinated or unvaccinated, are clinically obese. Also, in many discussions, we've been part of doctor groups and working with frontline emergency doctors. We've been working with medical doctors from different facilities and establishments worldwide, and listening to some key virologists and people who have research and have been doing well with COVID. What we have found across the board is that the people who are clinically obese or have a comorbidity. And what that means is that they struggle from another underlying condition, whether diagnosed or undiagnosed. And they're the ones that are having the hardest time fighting off infection. COVID, the flu, it doesn't really matter. We were seeing it across the board. So that is something I want to focus on because we can do so much to help people with that scenario. It doesn't matter if you've been vaccinated or not vaccinated. It's clear the healthier you are going into a respiratory illness, the better the outcomes. We had a meeting with some local doctors here, and we were just comparing notes. And one of the things that we found was they were struggling with some of their patients, and we have been treating COVID since the beginning. We have not lost one patient that we've been treating. We have lost patients that we're treating elsewhere, but we have not lost any of our patients directly. And although it's been challenging, we've had pretty successful outcomes for the most part with quickly, I mean, with our patients. And when we were comparing notes with some of the other doctors, we determined that the biggest difference was the majority of our patients were healthier coming into COVID than the patients that were being seen at the hospital. And so it's a very proactive approach to get your body as strong as possible coming into a flu season or coming into a COVID season. So, how do you stay out of the hospital? Well, we found number one that through lab work, zinc status was one of the major contributors. There's a few other ones too that I'm going to go through. What we can do though is be proactive with it, and that's what we're here to talk about. So we're talking about reaching your destination, which is a healthy destination. Our traditional medical model is more of a disease management model. That doesn't work as well for flus and viruses like COVID in trying to prevent it or trying to be healthy because their recommendations are based on insurance, like we talked about, based on incentives given by pharmaceutical companies or the government. And what we really want to look for is how to what does your body need? What is it doing to fight the infections? When COVID first came about, we had case studies of people in their 80s and 90s, even over 100 years old, getting COVID and doing well with it. My question is, why did they do so well when other people in their 40s and 50s did not? Well, we have those answers now. We've been a year and a half in, and the reality is the more proactive you are in certain areas of your immune system, the less likely you're going to be compromised when it comes to COVID. So, being proactive requires a lot of different things supporting the body's innate healing, a more personalized approach for you, finding out what are your weaknesses and then filling those gaps, and then educating yourself on health and being healthy, what it looks like for you. And that not only will help you with fighting infection, but long term as well. That's why getting back to the basics, we can actually achieve quite a bit. So, for you to be healthy, for you to reach your destination, I'm not talking about a sunny beach, although many of you, I'm sure, would love that this winter and every winter. We're talking about reducing your stressors and improving your body's natural innate communication processes. That means improving your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual well being and health. All of those influence your ability to function in life and do what you want to do with life. And right now, that is just be as healthy as possible for you, for yourself, and for your family. So we work with all of that as far as putting together a program to help reestablish where you are, to measure how you're doing in those areas, but also what needs to be addressed. Part of physical health, I'm also going to throw in a little caveat there and talk about chemical health, your chemical well-being. And we'll get into the specifics of that a little bit later. But when there's a breakdown chemically inside, then that can start to impair our overall function and we don't operate as well. Specifically, when it comes to the immune system, we'll get into some very good details here. So, in order for you to get to that desired destination, just some real basics. Most people will need to lose weight. Now, if you are good weight or underweight, then it's not losing weight, it's making sure it's the right type of weight. What I mean by that is we will look at and assess your muscle mass compared to your fat mass, compared to your lymph mass, your extracellular mass. Now, if you are a good weight, but you are full of lymph and extracellular mass and low on your muscle mass, you're not going to be healthy. You're not going to be able to fight off infections. Extracellular mass is the lymph and it's all the fluid outside the cells. We want healthy cells. Healthy cells give you reserves to fight infection. Healthy cells give you reserves to have energy to get through your day. So weight is very, very important, getting it into balance. But most people, especially in the United States, Canada, North America, really need to lose some weight. One of the biggest ones is reducing inflammation. Inflammation is one of your immune system's reactions to cleaning up the environment, to fixing the environment. Basically, it's like a forest fire that burns down the forest to allow regrowth. Same type of thing in the body. Inflammation is an immune system response. But if your immune system, which does two things, it battles inflammation and it fights infection. If it's battling inflammation chronically, it's going to be less available to help fight off infections. So what we do is we reduce the inflammation, bring that into balance so that when you're in an infectious season, you can actually do more with that. The big things we have found through this COVID season with our patients who handled COVID very well, regardless of age, was their vitamin D status, their zinc status, and their overall body pH status. Many people don't realize, but back in the 1900s when the Spanish flu hit, they were struggling with that for a little bit. And one of the things that helped turn the tide is when they actually brought in some alkalizing ingredients, baking soda to help reduce the pH in the body. It actually helped people fight off the infection better. Now, we have other alternatives and better ways of doing that right now. So don't go out and just start downing the baking soda, but realize that your body's pH matters. So I'm going to say it a different way. When you are acidic, your immune cells don't function as well. It's kind of like having a factory workers and they're all drunk. They just aren't as efficient. They make mistakes. And so our body pH matters. Infectious organisms and infectious bacteria, viruses, everything actually can thrive more in an acidic environment. The last thing that we found was sleep, and in particular, melatonin. Kids do very, very well with COVID because one of the reasons is there's many reasons, but one of them is melatonin. They make more melatonin. They make it more efficiently, and melatonin is the deep sleep hormone. So the more we can sleep, the more we can get in deep sleep, the more protected we are for our immune system response. Every time we get into deep sleep, our brain sends a signal to clean out the environment, and we have a large impact and net gain in our lymph system, so we can now take on more infection. Also, melatonin in particular showed to decrease the binding capacity of the coronavirus to our actual ACE receptors. That's really, really big. So people with good melatonin status had less lung issues. People with good melatonin status had less fevers, shorter duration time period. So sleep and melatonin are some real basic things that can help get you into a good state. Now, what happens as we age? We lose the ability to make melatonin. There are three things that cause that problem when it comes to sleep. It's at the bottom of the page here now. Stress will decrease your ability to convert tryptophan to melatonin. Infection, chronic infections in particular, like yeast, fungus, and bacteria, GI or gut infections. And then inflammation also decreases melatonin. So we want to make sure those three areas are taken care of. Now, other things that can stop you from getting to that desired situation and destination with the weight, I'm going to throw out a few here. Stress causes us to crave things. What do we crave when we're under stress? Salt and sugar. So, what do we go to? Well, women tend to go to chocolate. Guys tend to go to alcohol when they're stressed. Also, calorie balance. Are you consuming more calories than you're getting rid of? Weight will go up. If you're not moving and not exercising and you're eating more calories, weight goes up. Also, the type of calorie you're eating. Certain calories have no nutrients to them. Some calories are nutrient dense. A vegetable, not a lot of calories, but tons of nutrients. A ho-ho or a donut, a lot of calories, not a lot of nutrients. Nutrients is what feeds our brain and our cells. So there's some simple things, back to the basics, you can do to start to bring that back into balance. Hormone imbalances can cause weight gain. Cortisol is the stress hormone, but also the longer we're under stress, the more our hormones, our other hormones, become affected as well. Environmental toxins and chemicals also can cause weight gain. If you can't get rid of it and detoxify properly, then your body will store it in the best insulator in your body. The best insulator is fat. So your body will say, no, 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 don't get rid of the fat. We need that to store all these toxins we're being exposed to. And then inflammation. Basically, the more inflamed you are, the more obese you will become. Or if you are obese, that will instantly equal inflammation. And that's why it can become a challenge to fight off infections. Inflammation is the second category. Again, stress, sugar, toxins, and infection are the common, most popular causes of inflammation. Vitamin D, we need sun. Sun gives us our vitamin D, but also people with digestive disorders and liver issues can deplete the vitamin D. And in the northern part of North America, as you enter the winter time, we have less sun exposure, and so vitamin D levels tend to go down. Zinc. Zinc is very important. Zinc helps us make stomach acid that can also help us digest our other foods properly. But if you have intestinal inflammation or low stomach acid, or you're taking an acid blocker, you're going to eventually deplete your zinc. Excess alcohol. So if you have stress, you're drinking alcohol, alcohol depletes your zinc. Kidney disease and other dysfunctions with the kidney, even if they're just stressed kidneys because you're too acidic, can deplete your zinc. So kidneys help get the acids out of the body to help with the pH. So you guys can start to see that a lot of the same things can cause the dysfunction that deplete us of zinc and vitamin D. And these are the two main components that help us fight the infections like COVID. For body pH status, acids, again, if you're eating acidic food, I'm going to say this, if your stomach acid is low, your body acid becomes high. The reason is stomach acid means you're not digesting things properly. The pH in the intestines changes, and then bad bugs grow that basically release the acids. Bugs like fungus, bugs like Clostridium and bacteria that shouldn't be there, they release acids that then go into our body. So over months and years, the acids build up. If your kidneys can't take all the acids out, we become very acidic, which makes us more prone to infections, even things like cancers, because our cells become compromised. Uh, One of the things that causes the stomach acid to go low, lack of sleep. So I hope you guys are seeing that there's a scenario here where if we focus on just a couple key things, back to the basics, you can actually improve a lot of your function. And many of our patients who had COVID, who went through this, reported little to no symptoms. In fact, for myself, we've been treating COVID. I got COVID and I had a fever for a couple of hours. I had aches for a day, and that was it. A little bit of fatigue for a day and a half, and otherwise fairly asymptomatic. And that is true for the majority of our patients that were working and had been working on this diet and lifestyle scenario. I had many patients who went and got tested because family got it and they said, I have it. And all I have is a mild symptom, and it went away within a day. Or they were more like their kids, basically, where their kids got it for a day, and it was similar to having a flu, 24-hour flu, or even a 48-hour flu. So that's what's possible, regardless of age, if you work on some of these basics. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on the zinc part of it, because the zinc, when I was speaking with the local doctors that are treating in the hospitals and in their practices, we were seeing that a lot of them had zinc deficiencies. So I want to just point out some of the things that can help you identify zinc deficiency to see if our Back to the Basics program might be a good fit for you. Low zinc equals lack of energy. And that's one of the first things people will complain about is that their energy. Not wanting to eat, that is one of them as well. Sometimes that's a lot to do with feeling bloated or digestive problems, not necessarily not having the direct feeling of not wanting to eat. But uh, many people will feel hungry but feel they can't eat. So that's another way of saying that. Loose stools also happens. Another way of saying it though is more like an irritable bowel. So some people will be constipated and then loose stools, uh, eventually, or both. More prone to infections. Zinc deficiency, we know zinc helps the immune system quite a bit and it protects us intracellularly. So people who have colds, coughs, chest discomfort, or anything that can cause infections that way is most likely to be part of a zinc deficiency. Losing your hair can be zinc deficiency. Skin rashes, problems with eyesight, taste, or smell. Now, again, a lot of times one of the reasons why people will lose their sense of taste or smell with infections after the infection's gone is zinc deficiency. We have to restore the zinc, which generally means we have to get your stomach acid back to normal. We have to get you sleeping back to normal. Got to get your stress levels down. Got to get your inflammation down. It all works together. Impotence is another sign of zinc deficiency. We tend to be in more of a fight or flight state versus a rest and digest. So for women, instead of impotence, it'd be more like a lack of desire for sexual function. White spots on your fingernails. When your fingernails have these little flecks, these little white flecks, that is a sign, a potential sign of zinc deficiency as well. So that's one that we want to really, that's really obvious. And by the time it affects the nails, it's been going on for a while. All right, so this is some of the basics of our success that we have had in treating people and keeping them out of the hospital. Number one for COVID, but just over the last 20 years being healthy. We do lab testing. We do lab testing because we look at the patterns within the lab work. We're not looking to see do you have an active disease process. We're looking to see how is your body working as a whole. So what we've done is we've taken large lab panels because insurance won't pay for a lot of it because you're trying to be healthy. You don't have an active disease or a diagnosis. Then we are able to negotiate with the labs a discounted rate when you pay them directly. So we literally can get $1,500 worth of lab work for $250. Great deal, and we're able to pass that on, and that helps us when we look at the patterns within the blood work really dive in to see what's not working within your system. It helps us get to the core root issue as well. We also have a lot of success when we get the different pillars of detoxification working properly. Now, I don't mean detoxification like you are doing a fad diet or anything like that. I'm talking about your body's natural innate way to get rid of toxins. Toxin is anything your body can't use for its normal daily function. That's a toxin. So, in order for you to feel well and be detoxifying properly, your liver has to be pulling everything out through the lymph system and out of the body. Your kidneys have to be pulling the fluids and the acids out through the kidneys. Your gut has to be eliminating everything, not reabsorbing those toxins. Your skin and even your lungs, too, and your skin are part of the detoxification process. Your skin is your largest immune organ. So, if the skin is not where it needs to be, there's something compromising your immune system. We've also used nutrition. Now, this is key. This is basically eating the right diet for you. So, one of our successes has been having you follow a nutrition program, getting you on a diet, meaning a food plan that feeds you nutrients, real food, not fake food. So we use that to help clean things up. That will reduce inflammation for many people. Some people will experience weight loss just from that part of it. The most important thing is to start getting those nutrients into your cells so that your cells can behave better and fight off inflammation and infection. We will also use supplements, but not a lot. This is a big sticking point for me because a lot of people try and use supplements like medications, where they have a disease and they take a medication. Supplements are meant to supplement a healthy diet and lifestyle. So when we do a diet lifestyle change and add supplements, you get way more bang for your buck and it keeps you healthy. So they're there to optimize your cellular health and support deficiencies. And then occasionally we will use them in more of a therapeutic approach. In the Back to the Basics program, we are just looking to have them supplement a healthy diet and lifestyle. And that's what's going to serve you moving forward. Fitness. We need people moving. Motion is life. When we stop moving, we stop feeding our brain. Our brain requires two things. It needs fuel, which is oxygen and sugars and our food source, but it needs to be activated. It's activated by mostly by movement. The story I tend to like to share is one of astronauts. When they go to space, they can only stay in space for 2 years before they have to return to Earth because there's no gravity in space. So without gravity, we don't get the feedback from the muscles to the brain. And so with that lack of feedback, the brain starts to slowly deteriorate and we start to see cognitive disorders on par with dementia simply because of the lack of movement from your muscles and stimulus from the muscles to the brain. So motion is life. And I'm going to say this too. My wife, who's a respiratory therapist, who's working in the hospital system, has treated many, many different lung disorders. And our patients who are compromised with COVID, who have had issues, we didn't ever need to get to a point where we had to use a vent or even look at that because when we got them moving, we got them the lymph flowing. When you open up the bile ducts and the liver and the kidneys and you get those detox pathways open, you can start to actually improve their lung function. So it helped quite a bit. It helps quite a bit when we're moving and getting that blood flow to the lungs. So we need to do that proactively. The more you've movement and motion you've had before you get sick, the better you handle the sickness. So motion is crucial for your lung function, but also brain and just in general your immune system. So I'm just going to take a little bit of time here and talk about our program. The reason why I'm doing this program is because I realized how many people need to get back to the basics and how confused they were with all the data out there. And I'm telling you right now, the more we can get people healthy, the more we keep people out of the hospital so they don't even need to be going in for COVID or the flu. And every year we lose 30 to 80,000 people from the flu. So what we're talking about here right now is very, very much relevant to every season. So with this particular program, you don't have to be local to do it. You can do this remotely. We'll deviate a little bit if you're from a distance. If you're local, there's a few extra things we can do. Everything on here is what these programs look like. So there's online videos in education where they're 5 minutes, and we get you the information on a lot of basic information on health. It doesn't matter where you are and how long you've been doing things. I guarantee you, you're going to hear something that's new to you. Also, we have classes that are online and local and live, where we walk through movement. We walk through different mindsets for healing. We walk through uh, immune system function. There are specific things that people will learn about that are impacting their immune system in a negative way that they thought they were doing things healthy, but they're not. And so those classes are for everyone doing the programs. There's a PDF booklet to help walk you through. It's a 60-day back to the basics. So it's 60 days to improve your health and get to where you want to be health wise. And diagnostics includes laboratory testing. It includes the supplements. It also includes all the work with the different providers and going through the labs. We look at the pattern within your lab work and give you specific recommendations. So it's a tailored program for you. The one thing I want to go through or make sure that we're on the same page when I talk about integrity, you need to know if you're going to do this program, we're going to ask you to change your diet. We're going to ask you to change some lifestyle stuff. We're going to work on brain and mindset. We're going to work on you. And so you have to be all in. This is your top priority. It doesn't matter what age you are. If you're 20 or if you're 90, this will work for you because it's the basics of how everything works and we're restoring communication. If you're all in, this is your top priority. Great. We're ready to work with you. If you're all in, just need accountability. We're good with that. If you're a number three or a number four, we're going to ask you to come back when you're a one or a two. Three means this is not top priority, but I'm willing to change. We need more of a commitment, if that makes sense. And I've been doing this for so long that I now know that it's important for both of us to care about getting you over that finish line, so to speak. There was a time in my career when I cared more than the person I was working with about getting them getting healthy. And it just doesn't work for me to drag you over the finish line. This is something that we want you to take, learn from it, and then just exceed long after the 60 days is over because you've learned so much about yourself and what works for you. And if you're a four, it depends on how much I need to change. Definitely, it's not a fit for for our programs here because we're going to work on lifestyle and modification, and we've got 60 days to do it. So, with that 60 days, the cost or the investment in the program, we do make this as cost effective as possible. So, case evaluation, which is basically the research, the program design, the onboarding, is a part of the section. The action guides and tuition, all the education is in there as well. And that includes the office visits, the doctor's time, the gut repair nutraceuticals, and the diagnostic testing bank is also on there, and that's a reduced rate. So we're going to have the diagnostic testing may go up. So as you see this recording later, that price may go up. Initially, I know we can offer that to the people in the midst of uh, the program right now, and this is October of 2021. And so we do know and suspect we'll be able to keep it at that price for the first 30 days of mid October to November. And then it may go up a little bit, and that's only because the labs will be increasing their pricing as well. So our programs will reflect that. With that services bank, there are a lot of other services that you can add a la carte. That's something you can talk with one of your doctors. We have different detoxification methods. We do IV therapy here. We have a unit called the Hocket, which is a 10-in-1 detoxification unit. Not everyone needs it, but it can help speed up the process. It helps detox people. It's anti-aging as well, anti-cancer properties, and pro-immune system. So that's very helpful. And then IVs as well as other physical services and treatments. So the services bank is basically empty, but there is an a la carte component to that as you get to know the clinic. If you see something that is a fit or your doctor does, they may recommend that. So you can see here the cost as well. It's a $2,700 program, and right now we're able to offer a $330 discount, bring it down to $2,370. So if you have an interest in that, there are three different payment options. You can pay for the entire program, which gets another 7.5% discount, or you can split into three equal payments, or you can see if you qualify and just put whatever you have down and pay the rest off monthly. We do have financing for people who need it but can't quite afford it. We do understand during these challenging times, many people have lost their jobs or are out of work but still need to get healthy. So we're willing to work with as many people as possible. That is the basics of the cost. If you have any questions, we will answer those in the future. But I'm going to show you a little bit, first of all, some success advice. Success is when you add value to yourself. Significance is when you add value to others. And I want to be a part of that for you. We founded the clinic over 20 years ago with that in mind. And so it's very, very important for us that people know that this option's out there, that we've been very successful through this entire stressful year and a half. And we see a strong need moving forward for exactly this type of healthcare. If you have any type of interest in moving forward, I'm going to show you how to get there. This is a quote from one of our patients, and we have a wall of fame here with lots of quotes and testimonials on our website as well. And so to get to that website, it's officialsynapse.com. And if you click on the free discovery call, just fill out the information and check off the box that says personalized program. And when you get to your discovery call, you just have to let them know you want to do the back to the basics program. And they will be able to get you started with that. And like I said, in the first 30 days or first number of people will be able to offer that discount. If you're seeing this in the future, just be prepared that it may go up that $330. It may not. It's all dependent on whether or not we get the discounts from the labs that we are negotiated with. So again, if you want to get started, officialsynapse.com, click on free discovery call. And when you get to the answering of the questions, you can check off the personalized program and just let us know that you want to do the Back to the Basics program. I hope, even if you don't do the program, that you got some good information here. And I pray this finds you well. And I look forward to working with any and all of you that choose to come down this path. God bless.